So last lesson we looked at Nazi persecution of minority groups within the area controlled by Germany and eventually the Third Reich as it expanded across Europe. We're going to look now at other minority groups and ask ourselves, who did the Nazi persecute, which groups and why? What were their reasons and motivations? Well, we can begin answering that question straight away with this poster here. This is really a subject which is really rather close to me because I've got members of my own family who, I don't like the word disabled, but it's what the word the Nazis would have used. And I guess some members of my own family would have been executed if they were in the Nazi regime at that time. So let's have a look at this poster then. What's it about? What's it saying? So 60,000 Reichmarks. What this person suffering from, hereditary defects, costs the people's community during his lifetime. Comrade, that is your money too. So this poster is showing, it's implying really that this disabled person, this person with what I guess we call mentally challenged, is costing the state money and costing people money. So in other words, it's implying that he doesn't deserve that money. And of course, if you take that implication to its conclusion, well, what does the state do with people who are unworthy of being looked after? So let's have a look now at this persecution of the mentally and the physically disabled. They were thought of as inferior. And this was something that was coming from scientists who really, I guess, misused or misunderstood science, as well as doctors. And there were calls within Germany, and not only within Germany, throughout Europe and America and other places too, for euthanasia. Euthanasia is a lovely word, which basically means killing somebody in a painless way. And sterilisation, that's forcibly operating on someone without their consent so they can't have children. So sterilisation was used as remedies to mentally and physically disabled people, not only being a burden on society and costing society money to care for them, but also the danger that they might pollute the pure stock of the people and weaken the people that way. Again, this poster here, a disabled person cost the state 50,000 marks a year for a very brutal philosophy that says, people aren't worth spending money to look after. And they were called useless eaters. And you can see the sort of philosophical, this ideology, goes back way before the Nazis. The Nazis simply inherited this and really went with this philosophy. And again, as I've said, this sort of philosophy, this type of thinking was not only in Germany, it was in a lot of other countries too. So let's read this extract from The Riddle of Life, written by the German biologist Ernst Haeckel. What profit does humanity gain from the thousands of cripples born each year, from the deaf and dumb, from cretins, from those with incurable hereditary defects who are kept alive artificially and then raised to adulthood? What a lot of pain they suffer. What a lot of money it costs to look after them. All of this could be avoided with a dose of morphine. So Ernst Haeckel is essentially advocating murdering disabled people. So sterilisation, and let's look now at how this goes again before the Nazis actually gained power. These ideas are swirling around and already being enacted upon. So throughout the 1920s, the debate actually on sterilisation resurfaced. Between 1914 and 1918, a lot of young German men had been killed in the Great War, and these were regarded as the most valuable human stock. It's odd to see that word stock in relation to humans. It sort of makes you think more about cattle or pigs or that sort of thing, where you get more valuable and less valuable ones because they might provide more or less meat. An odd word to be used with humans, I think. And in 1923, in an area of Germany called Zwickau, the district health officer, actually surgeons sterilised mentally disabled people. They broke the law, but they got away with it because there was tacit support from people involved. During the Depression, as well, in the 1930s, welfare cuts were initially for the care of the disabled. They were prioritised, obviously seen as less valuable members of society. Well, what happens when the Nazis gain power? In 1932, again before the Nazis even gained power, the Prussian state government passes a sterilisation law. And this is taken further in January of 1934 by the Nazis, with a law for the prevention of hereditarily diseased children. What this allows doctors to do is to sterilise children they deem to be in some way hereditarily diseased. And this is incredibly not just cruel, but also basically non-scientific as well. And so 360,000 children have been sterilised, they've been operated on and sterilised by 1945. In October of 1939, an even more chilling law, the euthanasia order. Sorry, not a law, it's I guess it's a sort of behind-the-scenes order, granting doctors the permission to euthanize, basically to murder disabled children. And this happens. Here is an example of a young girl who is deemed unfit to live and basically murdered. This is Hartheim Euthanasia Centre. It's actually a rather beautiful castle within Germany, but within this, the walls of this castle, disabled children using the euthanasia order were murdered by poison or by starvation. And what do we mean by disabled? It could even be things like malformed ears or wetting the bed. And later on, adults were included. Adults included that were deemed to be disabled in some way, not worthy of life. They were also killed under the euthanasia order. The persecution extended from disabled people. It also included Sinti and Roma, or sort of commonly known, although you shouldn't really use that word, as gypsies. These are a sort of ethnic minority group within Europe that sort of travel around Europe and historically have been discriminated against. Well, the Nazis inherited the Länder. Remember, the Länder were the previous districts of sort of federal Weimar Germany, and there were discriminatory laws already in place against the Sinti and the Roma. They'd had to register since 1899 so the government could track them. And in 1926, if they were found to be without work, they were sent to a workhouse for 2 years. That's not something that an ordinary German citizen it wouldn't happen to them. So rather a discriminatory law. Well, in 1939, the Nazis confined the Sinti and Roma to designated campsites. They were not allowed to move, as was their culture and their custom. And I guess you could say the final solution, in a sense, applied to the Sinti and Roma as well. In 1941, the went from persecution to outright extermination, and 250,000, 250,000, were shot in Russia, Poland, and the Balkans. And those Roma within Germany, in December 1942, were sent to Auschwitz death camp in Poland. Homosexuals and black people were also subject to persecution by the Third Reich, by the Nazis. They were seen as endangering the Aryan order, which Hitler and the Nazis wanted to establish in Europe. Homosexuals were persecuted because they were seen as not producing children, and they were seen as being weak and unfit to be soldiers. Black people were seen as being close to Jews in this sort of racial hierarchy that the Nazis had, with the Aryans at the top. There had actually been laws against homosexuality since 1871, not just in Germany, but in countries throughout Europe as well, and America. During the Weimar period, though, it had been rather tolerant. There'd even been sort of openly gay nightclubs, for example, within Berlin. But in February of 1933, homosexual groups were banned. And in 1936, law was passed by which homosexuals would be sterilised. Again, to sort of remove, the idea was removing them from the stock of the German people, so they wouldn't weaken the stock of the German people. Not just homosexuals, also black people as well. If you remember, back in 1923, the Ruhr had been occupied by French and Belgian troops after Germany hadn't paid reparations. Well, some of these were black soldiers from the French colonies of Senegal and Morocco. Here you can see a poster at the time, a German poster, with a sort of racial caricature of a Senegalese or a Moroccan French soldier. And some of those soldiers had relationships with German women in the Ruhr. These were dubbed, not very nicely, the Rhineland bastards, both during the Weimar and the Nazi period. The Weimar authorities also collected information on these children, and in 1937 the Nazis used this information to trace and to sterilise 385 teenagers, again for these twisted racial ideals of keeping German stock pure. I love this fact. In 1936, there was actually a lull in persecution of Jewish people because of the Berlin Olympics. Well, you can see here, it was supposed to be a showcase of Nazi Germany and Aryan supremacy. You can see here, I think the German guys got third place, the Japanese gentleman in second, and I love the fact this is Jesse Owen winning the gold medal. He actually won 4 gold medals at the Berlin Olympics, which really annoyed Hitler and is a source of tremendous pleasure to me. So let's review that. Actually, we're going to have a poem, I think. Here we go, yeah, sorry. A very famous poem, which makes you think, really, about how scapegoating in society, perhaps it's easy to ignore it while it's not you, but at some point, well, here we go. First they came for the communists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. So in summary, persecution of the physically and mentally disabled, they were seen as both a danger of polluting pure Aryan stock and also as costing the state. So sterilisation and euthanasia was used. The same with the Sinti and Roma, and also 250,000 were eventually murdered in 1941. Homosexuals and black people, for various reasons. Homosexuals again seen as weak and not contributing to the German stock. Black people as inferior and close to Jews. I hope you made some notes on that, and good luck with the quiz.